son is now going to be 18 next week. And when I think about that, there is life after having my son at 15, but I had to parent all the way through. And when we think about what do teen parents need, they need to know, like, I got a lot of help on how to change a pamper, how to take their temperature. But by the time he was 5 or 7 or 10, and when he hit 13, I didn't have a whole lot of support on what does that mean? What are the life stages of being a parent? And I had to parent in public in a lot of ways. I had to fight against not only what like the self-talk I began to say to myself because it was considered that I was a failure for becoming a parent, but also within my own family, within my community. I had support, but it was the support of, oh, you just can't, like, don't do anything wrong and get your kid taken away. Or, well, at least I hope you finish high school. And so the hope and desire that I needed to really push through, I had from some, but not from all. And teen parents can be good parents, but I think we struggle at the beginning of motherhood and fatherhood just as any mother or father that didn't plan and didn't read all the books and some of those things. Like, it's a hard journey, and I think you can't do it alone. And the importance of support both within families but also within the systems that we come into contact with. Teen parents are probably the one group of young people that interface with just about every public agency in some way or another, and it needs to matter. And it needs to matter on what do we do to best support them.
And we get the outcomes we expect. So if we change our expectations, maybe we'll get different outcomes. Kristen?
Short. I would just say for everybody who is like me on the outside of sort of this community, I hope that you'll walk out the door and keep talking about this because I think it's an important issue. It does affect all of us, as you've seen, and we certainly are fascinated by it. That much is very clear. So walk out, keep talking, and try to be a little bit more open. This is a difficult topic for a lot of us to talk about. So,
is there anyone in the audience who has a burning question that they kind of had and really wish to be able to ask anybody in the panel? Dr. Orr?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Brian Orr. I just have a comment because I hope that this film goes far and wide, and I think my daughter who's here with me would probably say that I'm saying that because I'm in the film. But, it's really because if you look at this film and all the points that were made in this film were points that we were trying to make and did make to the hospital that didn't allow us to prescribe birth control at our clinic. And we made these points to the school who said, well, they really just wanted to get pregnant anyway. And we made these same points to the media that descended on our town. And nobody listened to us. And this battle is made in all local communities. You know, if you're from Massachusetts, and most of us are, Revere went through this issue just in the past year. This is a community by community battle to have all our teens educated and have access. It's not something that we can do just in Gloucester. But a film like this, now we see, Kim and I see, that we can have the conversation that we were trying to have 2 years ago. And that's why I hope this film goes wide.
Thank you.
I think there was somebody back here.
Hi, thank you. My comments, I guess I want to ask about the young men who were getting young women pregnant. We haven't really talked a lot about that, and not that I want to not talk about or think that it wasn't important to talk about the young women, but we haven't really talked about the young men and the role, the expectations we have of them, and what messages are we giving to them? We're focusing exclusively on the young women who were pregnant, but not the young men who got them pregnant. Thanks.
Yeah, shame on me for that. We didn't really talk as much about that as we certainly do around our office. And I think that that's a very important point. Does anybody have a comment about fathers?
I think they become the invisible teen parent on this issue, and partly because they aren't the ones pregnant. But I'll say, I mean, even in my own situation, that I had 2 children with the same father, and he's been their father all along. And I think sometimes you tell the story of those that walk away, but when they stay, it's not like he could go in and get any type of real support to help him be a better father. Like, there aren't a whole lot of supports, I think, unless he had left school because he had decided he needed to go help me take care of my son. And once he left school, he left that one place that could possibly have identified him as a teen parent and try to help him. And that, I think, is really tragic in a lot of ways, but I'm so excited that other people on the panel are working with young families, and I would love to hear some of the work that you all are doing.
Maybe we can get Kristen and John to do a film that really goes deep with young fathers.
I think because they weren't the visibly pregnant ones, they were overlooked for so long, and we thought, oh, they were older, or oh, they drop out of school, or they don't continue, and shame on me, because that sort of hit me in the face, I would say, about 2 years ago when the teen dads were coming to me and saying, how come our partners are getting group once a week, and they get snack at group, and they get maternity leave, and what about my paternity leave, and what's going on with this? And then they started to come out to the point where Putnam, I know we've instituted a paternity leave policy, and our teen dads meet at weekly group with our teen moms. And it's interesting to see that dynamic of partners who are either co-parenting or not even speaking to each other, but attending a support group together. And those teen dads are graduating at a higher rate, and they are moving on with their lives. And Yasmin and Omar in the film just got engaged last week, and it was like a school celebration. You know, they were so excited to share that news with people who surrounded them with care and continued care and moving on in their lives. And those fathers now, we can say to them, you're a teen father, you're going to be involved in your child's life, and let's stop the stigma of, oh, my baby's father isn't in the picture. And they are in the picture, and they should be applauded for the work that they're doing to move on with their lives as well.
Thank you.
May I
So, long night.
May I make one comment on that?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the Adolescent Journal, within the past year, there was an article that studied young men, and actually a large percent of young men wanted to be involved with their new adolescent bride and child. However, there's a lot of social forces, including a lot of the issues of anger between the two families, that actually force young men away from the situation. So it's somewhat of a myth to think that all these young adolescent men just want to be out of the picture. A large majority actually want to be in, but the social forces don't exist to keep them there like your school.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming, for watching the film. Oh, okay, yes. Thank you. Best for last.
I just have one comment to make. You made a judgment up there saying that the mothers, by the way, I'm Sarah Williams. I was in the film tonight. And I just want to say that you made a judgment up there saying that the mothers up there looked young and lost. I'm not lost, and though it's not in the film, I actually do lead a very structured life. I have goals. I go to college. I work. So I'm not lost and out of field, and me and Pedro are very much lead a structured life and hope to carry out our goals for not just us, but our kids as well. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Sarah. And I think one of the reasons we were so interested in this film is that it does show the full spectrum. There are young people in that film, like Sarah and Pedro, who we feel are going to do okay. They are going to make it as best as any of us make it. And then there are other young people where I'm afraid about what will happen for them. And that is the spectrum. And it's all of that. Not that different than a lot of parents, but there are some particular challenges that happen for young people, both in preventing pregnancy, planning for pregnancy, and in parenting. But certainly at the Alliance, we believe young parents can be excellent parents, but not by themselves, because none of us do it by ourselves either. And if that's the expectation, then we're all going to fail. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I hope that you will continue this discussion and conversation amongst yourselves with the young people in your lives. And the next time you see a young person parenting, I would like you to think about this film and think a little bit differently about what you see. Thank you.